What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video we're here with a PowerPoint presentation, and I'm going to be going over who I want as champion in each division and then who I least want as champion in each division. And I'm also going to be doing the same thing for the UFC in terms of who I think the UFC wants most as champion and then obviously who they want least as champion. Let's get started with the flyweight division. So for flyweight, I think the UFC's preferred option is Brandon Moreno. I think this is the guy that the UFC wants as champion, and I think that's pretty clear, to be honest. He gets a lot of promotion. They put him in main event spots. They give him title shots after title shots, even if he fucking doesn't ever defend the belt. This man's fought for the belt 7 times, I'm pretty sure. 0 title defenses. So very interesting from Brandon Moreno. They definitely like him. He opens up that Mexico market for them. They want a male champion. I know they got Grasso, but let's face it, they want a male champion to be able to go to Mexico. They're headlining him this weekend against Royval over Ortega Rodriguez, which is a better fight in my opinion. But regardless, I think that's why they want this guy as the champion. But my preferred option is, of course, Manel Kape. We know I've covered this man several times on the channel in several different videos. You know, I've talked about him as one of the top UFC racists. I've talked about him as one of the guys that would do excellent as an authoritarian dictator. He's been on many tier lists on the channel, and I think he would be an amazing champion. But on the flip side, I think mine and the UFC's least preferred option as champion at flyweight would be Amir Albazi, the rat himself. I just don't like him as a person. I think he stands for very immoral things. I don't think he's a very good bloke. And yeah, that's all I've got to say about it. And I don't think the UFC wants this guy as champion either, to be honest. But let's move on to the bantamweight division. So, bantamweight. I think the UFC's favourite option, or their ideal option for champion, is Sean O'Malley. Look, he appeals to 12-year-olds, so he can clearly bring in an audience for them, you know. They think he's a star, so I think that is why they're getting behind him. He seems like, on paper, he looks like a real promotable guy. It looks like a guy that would have a lot of fan support. But anyone who knows anything about Sean O'Malley just knows this guy's got the personality of a fucking wall. He's got the personality of a fucking dead chicken. And yeah, if anything, a dead chicken is more charismatic than Sean O'Malley. I don't know what kind of comparison that is. That's just the first thing that came to mind. But yeah, O'Malley, he's got a fun fighting style. So fair play, even if he's a cuck, at least he does have fun fights in the octagon, just like he has fun watching his wife at home. But yeah, I think the UFC wants him as champion, and that seems pretty evident just from the treatment that they're giving him. You know, Chito Vera, very easy fight to make for him. Doesn't really deserve a shot, but they're doing it for O'Malley, so they're clearly interested in like preserving this guy. But my preferred option is Corey Sandhagen. I love Corey Sandhagen. I'm a Corey Sandhagen enjoyer, as are many of the better and more intelligent MMA fans. And, you know, this guy would fight anyone, anytime. He's actually a pretty fun fighter. I know his last fight against Font wasn't the best. Like, he wrestled him a lot. It was an effective method of victory. He won 50-45, but yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say it was a banger. But overall, this guy fights very fun fights, like the fight with Song Yadong, the fight with Peter Yan. Even the fight with Chito was pretty fun, like gets highlight reel knockouts. I think this guy would be a sick champion. He's a great representative of the sport and doesn't promote cuckoldry like Sean O'Malley. But I think on the flip side, the UFC's least preferred option would be Merab Dvalishvili. Look, I do think they're getting around to him. I don't think Dana White is as against him as he was. It was pretty clear before, like, Dana White hated this guy when he was like, he would just go off on a rant about him and say, this guy's never getting a title shot while Aljamain's a bantamweight. If you're not willing to fight every single person in the division, you ain't getting a title shot. So the UFC and Dana hated Merab, but I think with his performance at 298, and they're actually seeing the fan support that this guy has, they're getting around to the idea that this guy wouldn't be too bad as champion. But there's a fuck ton of fun fighters at 35. So if they were going to have their choice, if it's like all of these guys, order them in order of like best to worst in terms of what you want as champion, I don't think Merab's going to be at the top of the list. But my least preferred option is Umar Nurmagomedov. And yes, he's Dagestani, and that's pretty much the only reason. But Also, if this guy's champion, it's going to be the same deal as Islam. It's going to be the same deal as fucking Habib. Like, we're only going to see this guy fight in the land of the sand people. You know, he's only going to be fighting in the land of the oil tycoons. If we're just going to say it how it is, like, he's only going to be fighting in fucking UAE and Saudi and all that shit. He's not fighting in America. If this guy wins the belt, he's defending once every 10 months at best, and it's just going to be in, like, Saudi Arabia, or they're just going to add new locations to go, what's up, guys? I know you guys wanted to go back to Australia, or you wanted to go to Brazil or something. No, we're going to Syria. We're going to Palestine before they're going to go anywhere else. Like, they're just going to invent fucking locations just to give these guys places to fight. And it's going to be very annoying. And also, he's managed by Ali Abdullah Sleaze. So that's just not going to go well. And I just don't think he would be an active champion. But we move on to the featherweight division. Okay, so for featherweight, I think the UFC's preferred option, this might be recency bias, but I think their preferred option is Ilia Topuria. If you're looking at the ranked featherweights right now, you're looking at everyone at 145. I don't think anyone offers up the same amount of potential for pay-per-view sales, the same amount of potential for a new market. Like, they clearly want to go to Spain, and I think that's a big reason why they're happy that this guy won the belt. Obviously, Volkanovski offers, like, the Australian market, but they can put Izzy there, they can put, like, Whitaker and stuff, they can do fight nights. Like, Spain is a location where it's like, you want a big star to be able to go there, and they can go to there for a pay-per-view. Like, they could make a boatload of money from taking Ilia to Spain, and he's going to be a superstar over there. Even if he's not quite that status in America and in Australia and in those locations, in Spain, this guy's going to get one of the biggest receptions you'll ever hear. So I do think the UFC wants him as champion. He's fun fighting style, give him credit, even though I'm sad he beat Volk. I do acknowledge that he is definitely a great face and a fresh start for the featherweight division. Because even though we love Volk, it is part of the sport. You need that changeover. You can't just have someone retire and leave without taking on the best challenges and risking a few defeats. Like, that's what happened with Khabib, and it took a hot minute for shit to sort itself out and for us to actually, like, get a new champion that we were happy about. But my preferred option is Diego Lopez, the GOAT himself, the best haircut in the UFC. Obviously, Volk is number one, but he was just champion, and he's, like, I'm kind of go with something interesting. Like, I'm going with a different face. Like, Diego Lopez, he's not ranked right now, but he's about to fight Sadiq Yusuff in a couple months' time. If he wins that, it'll be, like, top 10. I can totally see them giving him, like, a top 5 guy after that fight. He's super promotable. He's really fun fighting style. You know, he gave Movsar the only fun fight of his career. So that tells you all you need to know. But speak of Movsar, he is mine, and I think he's the UFC's least preferred option as champion. This would just be not good. He's got the personality, again, of a dead chicken. Like, my metal water bottle, which is deteriorating by the day, has more charisma than Movsar. He's literally just admitted to being a Pat Barry on stream to Sneeko. Literally said he married a 17-year-old. So classic, classic those kind of people. We know what they're into. But let's swiftly move onwards. I just don't think this guy would be a great champion. He's not fun. He's boring. No personality. Would sell no pay-per-views. And we don't need more of these inbreds in the fucking sport at the top of the division. Let's move on to the lightweight division. So, 155. This is an interesting one. I'm going to put Charles Oliveira as the UFC's preferred option. You might disagree. You might say I'm dumb. Maybe you think it's Gaethje, or maybe you think it's Islam. Maybe they're happy with him, or Poirier, or one of these guys. Obviously Conor, but that doesn't count. He's not going to fucking fight. In terms of top guys and guys that actually have a realistic chance of becoming champion, I do think the UFC is definitely supporting Oliveira. Maybe he's not like, we need him as champion. Like, they can sell a bunch of pay-per-views and tickets with anyone, really. But Oliveira's got a massive following. He's, I think, the biggest star at 55 right now. Islam's got that one individual following of, the sand people. But Oliveira has a wide following. Like, he's got that Brazilian support. He's got support from, like, literally everyone. He's big with the casual fans too. And I think this guy, in terms of maybe Poirier sells more, but I think this guy sells the most pay-per-views when he was champ. Like, Poirier, him versus Gaethje, him versus Chandler even. I don't know what the pay-per-view numbers were, but I do think this guy is a big star. Fun fighting style, nothing bad about this guy as champion. And they even, like, they offered him an Islam rematch before he even fought again. Like, straight after he lost, they offered him a rematch for January, but he wanted to take time off. Then he fought Beneil, and then they gave him a rematch after that. Obviously now he's fighting Arman, but I do think I'm for it. Don't get me wrong. This might come across as like he doesn't deserve it. I love Oliveira, and he probably would be my number one option, but I don't want to do the same for me and the UFC. So my guy is Bernard St. Denis. You guys might come in the comments and tell me I'm glazing, or tell me I'm Lucas Tracy V2 or some shit like that. But this guy would be sick as champion. Let's be honest. You saw Izzy on the way up to the top. It was fun. Everyone liked his fighting style. He was awesome. And then he became champion and threw 3 leg kicks around to a 49-46 decision. And it was boring. But Bernard St. Denis just seems like a guy that he ain't going to fucking fight differently as champ. This guy is still going to just run at you, chin up in the air, and just try and knock you out straight away. I think that would be amazing as champion. He also promotes, military excellence. He brings that background. He's a promotable guy as well. He's fun fighting style, speaks English, and big for French MMA. Maybe he can, promote some non-soy Frenchies to come out of that country, because right now it seems like he might be the only one. But we don't move on. On the flip side, I think the UFC's least preferred option is Gamrot. Look, I don't feel strongly about this. I just think based off, he was the backup fighter, and they're like, yeah, sorry, Scammer, you're not getting a fucking title shot, bro. We're calling in Volk on 10 days' notice to get head kick KO'd. Like, I wish that was Gamrot that got head kick KO'd, but it isn't, and I don't think they want to give this guy anywhere near the title shot. They gave him the Beneil fight. As soon as he lost that, they're like, yeah, fuck out of here, boy. Like, now he's fighting RDA. Like, fair play, it's like a legend. It's not like he's getting fed to an up-and-comer, but he's fighting back in the rankings when he's coming off 2 wins, I'm pretty sure. 2 or 1. Who did he... Oh, yeah, Fiziev, but that was he exploded Fiziev's fucking ACL with telekinesis. But my least preferred option would be Arman Tsarukyan. Nothing against the guy's fighting style. He's a pretty fun fighter, but I don't know. I just don't like him as a person. He annoys me, and that's all I got to say about it. We move on to the welterweight division. For welterweight, I think the UFC's preferred option, and again, I don't feel strongly about this. Look, it could be anyone. You could say it's Colby. You could say it's fucking Cacciaro. I don't know. You could say it's Leon. I'm not sure. Dana White seems to like Leon right now, but I'm going to say it's Shavkat. I think this guy brings in the Kazakh market. He's promotable. Look, he doesn't speak English, so he's not going to promote the fights himself, but he's got a fun fighting style. He's undefeated, and he offers up a new market, because they haven't gone to Kazakhstan as far as I'm concerned, and this guy would definitely be an option for if they were going to make their debut in Kazakhstan. And I think the UFC likes him. That's what I think. They offered him a title shot against Leon over Bilal. Just burped. They offered him a title shot against Leon over Bilal, so that says enough. My preferred option, though, again, I don't feel strongly about this. I like Leon as champion. I don't even mind the guy. I would like Shavkat as champion. I would like Gilbert Burns as champion. I'd like a whole bunch of guys, but I'm going to go with Jack Della Maddalena as my preference, to be honest with you. He's white. He's Australian. Those are the 2 checkpoints that make me like you as a fighter. But he's also a very fun fighter. He's got a great boxing style, and he's definitely promoted. Well, he doesn't speak a whole lot, but he's promotable in terms of, like, you can put this guy on a highlight reel, and he makes a good highlight reel. Unlike Bilal, where they have to just find highlights of him landing glancing 2s to the forehead as highlights, and be like, Bilal Muhammad is a marauder. Like, you just get Joe Rogan just saying, he's a marauder. He comes after you. Like... But talking of Bilal, he's the UFC's least preferred option, clearly. The UFC does not want this guy as a champion in a title opportunity, does not want this guy headlining any fights. He fucking fought Burns on like a 2 weeks notice, and they're like, yeah, he gets a title shot, and then two days later, I'm not even thinking about that right now. I don't know what's next for Bilal. Maybe he can fight Shavkat. But like, they hate this guy. They offered him they threw the whole cliffs at Leon. They threw Shavkat. They threw Islam. They threw Hamza. They just chucked the whole fucking inbred caves at Leon, and they're like, nah, Bilal, not having it. You're not getting a shot, buddy. But my least preferred option is Ian Gary, for reasons that are evident, the Cacciaro himself. And also just based off that last performance against Jeff Neal, I can totally see this guy go on the Adesanya route, not only being unbelievably cringe, but also in terms of the fighting style, just point festing. If this guy wins the belt, it's just going to be dismal. And we're going to have to deal with him saying, I've got a McGregor and I want my wife to get fucked by other men. Like, it's just going to be a miserable time if this guy becomes champion. So let's move on to better things, to the middleweight division. All right, middleweight. I think Khamzat is the UFC's preferred option. Maybe you could go with Adesanya too. But yeah, between those two, they both have the most appeal to the casual fans. They're the most known amongst the casuals. I think Sean Strickland is getting up there. He's my pick, of course. But Khamzat, he's got star power, another representative for the Sand people. This guy, he's friends with fucking warlords and dictators, so he's not allowed in the US, but they just want it because they need him in, like, big spots so that if he can't fight in the US, they need to fucking headline him over in the land of the Sand. But yeah, that's who I think the UFC wants as champion. And my preferred option is, of course, Strickland. He's got the best press conferences in the sport, and I just find it very amusing to wake up every day and just see a new news headline of Strickland saying something controversial and outraging a bunch of bluehead fucking leftists. So yeah, good stuff, Sean Strickland. Need you as champion again just to make the things interesting, because all we're getting out of Khamzat is see you soon after literally fucking, I don't know, like Topuria wins the belt and Khamzat's like, see you soon, UFC 300. Like, shut up. But in terms of who I think the UFC doesn't want as champion, I think it's Jared Cannonier. If I was going to pick anyone, like, you could go with a Marvin Vettori. You could go with a, I don't know, a Jack Hermanson. But in terms of the guys right at the top, I just don't think Cannonier offers anything. He's got no personality. They don't want this guy at a press conference talking about crystals for 20 minutes as they're asking him about his title fight. Like, what have you done to prepare? He's like, I've been consulting the crystals. I'm looking forward to the fight. He offers up nothing on the fucking mic, so they don't want him as champion. And also, yeah, the second dot point, you guys can read that out for yourselves. But my least preferred option is, of course, Adesanya. I can't be fucked seeing this guy come back and then his fans are just going to be like, it was a part of his storyline. He let Strickland win. Like, they're just going to come up with some bullshit and just be fucking annoying. So yeah, Adesanya fans make me hate him more than I probably would normally, but also he's cringe, he's weird, he touches dogs, and yeah, he's just not a good representative for the sport, and he's boring as fuck. I'd prefer Drickus as champ. I'd prefer Khamzat as champ over Izzy, because at least Khamzat is exciting, and I'd rather someone that, supports authoritarian dictatorships than someone that supports the CCP and fucking, I don't know, animal molestation. Well, let's move on to the light heavyweight division. Light heavyweight, pretty clear. I don't need to spend a whole lot of time. For me and the UFC, I think it's the same for both. Most preferred option, I think, is Alex Pereira. He's the only guy with star power at 205, to be honest. Jamal Hill's 37,000 tweets a day responding to trolls does not count as star power just because it shows up as, he gets interactions on his tweets. That's just because half of them are him replying to people. And apart from that, we've got no one at, like, Johnny Walker, Khalil Roundtree. These Yuri, I guess, yeah. Yuri Prohaska would be probably the second option, but I think it's pretty clear the UFC likes Pereira as champ. He offers up big fights. There's an opening for an Adesanya fight. He's promotable. The Sharma is always going to be the only word that we need to hear at a press conference from Pereira, and we're hyped. This guy's like, Poatan, what do you think about your upcoming fight? He'll be like, Sharma, Adesanya. And then it just, like, puts the mic down. It's like, yeah, we're hyped. We're pumped. He knows how to get the crowd going. But yeah, and for the least preferred option, it's Ankalaev for reasons that are evident. He's boring as fuck in terms of personality. He does get a few finishes here and there, but he finishes his sister. He doesn't finish the fans. So he doesn't finish fights, and he puts the fans to sleep half the time. So yeah, I messed up that joke, but I hope you found it funny. Let's move on to the heavyweight division. So, heavyweight. Jones is the UFC's most preferred option and my least preferred option. He's a TMZ regular. He's Dana's cocaine buddy. That's why we know Dana White likes him as champion. He sells pay-per-views because, let's be honest, even though we would much prefer guys like Aspinall or Pavlovich as champ in terms of the fun fights and in terms of, like, gonna fight regularly, gonna fight contenders, and not Jones, who fakes an injury to take a year off and duck the fucking Aspinall fight, because he's like, oh fuck, if I beat Stipe, I either just have to retire now or fight either Pavlovich or Aspinall. It's like, oh, better wait a little bit, and then make my retirement more excusable when I leave after an injury. So yeah, we know he's not injured, he's just ducking Aspinall, and he just wants to take the Stipe fight, and then he's just gonna bitch out. So yeah, don't want Jones as champ, but the UFC does. My preferred champion would be Pavlovich. I'm fine with Aspinall also. Aspinall's better in terms of promotion. I think they'll go to the UK and stuff with him. So again, if you guys say Aspinall, I'll say sure. I just think Pavlovich just leans it slightly for me in terms of, I think it's just funny. This guy is champion, just this fucking fridge of a human, just coming in, assaulting fat men, playing slots, and then just leaving. Like, it's just like he just dips and it just KOs some fat man and then just leaves with his 50k bonus after just chinning an unarmed black man and then just skedaddles. But in terms of the UFC's least preferred option, I'll go with Curtis Blades. You know, maybe they don't want like Almeida as champ, or Stipe would be kind of iffy because he'd just retire. But in terms of guys that are looking maybe for a title shot in the near future, they clearly, anytime Blades is looking at a title shot, they're like, all right, buddy, here's Pavlovich, or like, here's Ngannou, like, or here's Derek. Like, they'll just give him someone that they know is going to KO him every time. Like, Blades' weakness, I feel like in the matchmaker's room, they've just got like fighter cards down there. It's like, Blades, weakness, speaking the English language coherently, and then also power punches. And they're like, all right, is he looking at a title shot? No, need to give him one more fight, give him a power puncher. Like, and then it's wraps for him. His career's over. Like, he's just stuttering his way all the way to a fucking TKO loss in the first round. So UFC, I don't think they want Blades as champion. I want Pavlovich as champion, and I don't want Jones as champion. But that is the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Otherwise, Bilal's going to be your pilot on your next holiday. Subscribe, otherwise Ian Gary will become champion of the world. And unless you're MMA Joey, you don't want that to happen. And then also leave a comment. Who do you guys want as champion in each division? And who do you guys think the UFC wants as champion in each division? Let me know if you guys agree with my picks. We got the predictions coming soon. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.